Welcome to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Ain't another place that has got more bombast. Romp past your mom, dad's listening to Tomcats. Talking everything that make you sad. We don't want that. We're here to make you smile. Put your mind at ease. Peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Keanu Reeves. This what we about. This some weeding now. We'll talk until we can't no more, and then we peacing out. Alright, let's go. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. It's the Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast. Penny Bloom Podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue our director's spotlight for David Fincher. It is our second movie in anticipation of The Killer, our final movie in anticipation of The Killer due to a long run before Killers of the Flower Moon and it being pushed right up against the release of The Killer. Only had time for a couple. So today, our second movie is The Social Network. This one was released on October 1st, 2010. It was written by Aaron Sorkin, based off a book by Ben Mesrick, and directed by David Fincher. I'm Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
What up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it is always a pleasure to have you. And we got a first watch for me here. Been a little bit since we did that. You know, Gangs in New York a couple weeks back was the last first watch we had for me, and I'm happy with it, man. I'm happy with it. It's interesting. I find it's obviously one that I've heard egregious amounts about. You know, like this is as far as the decade of the 2010s is concerned, a lot of people, even by the end of it, considered this one of the best of the 2010s. Massive critical acclaim, a tremendously well received movie, and I'm sitting pretty with it. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'd say this is my actual first watch. I think I was talking about how, like, I remember a scene of, like, some hacking.
Great scene.
Like they're just trying. Yeah, it's literally, it's like to get into Facebook, you know. So it's pretty sick. I didn't know
Become
that.
an intern.
Yeah, and so I remembered that scene, but I probably just saw it on, like, Twitter or TikTok or something. You know, I didn't see it in the movie. So this was my first watch. Like, a lot of it was completely brand new. I had no idea. But it was just past knowledge of, like, just hearing about the movie.
I am very, very satisfied looking at this list of nominations and wins at the Oscars. The win specifically made sense to me. Adapted screenplay by Aaron Sorkin. This movie is incredibly tightly written. The editing stood out like a motherfucker to me, and it won an Oscar for it. It was so fucking good. So incredibly well paced. You're covering like 5 years in 2 hours, and you don't feel like you miss a fucking beat.
No.
It's really well done. And then the score is fucking good, man. I like Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross teaming up. They did Watchmen on HBO. They did the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie earlier this year. They don't miss as far as I'm concerned.
Okay.
But yeah, nommed for Best Picture of the Year, nommed Best Leading Actor for Jesse Eisenberg, nommed Best Directing for David Fincher, nommed Best Cinematography for Jeff Cronenworth, and nommed for Best Sound Mixing. So, like I said, massive critical acclaim, and I think it's well deserving. This is one of those ones that I find to be, you know, every ounce of enjoyment I get out of this movie is due to how well done it is. You know what I'm saying?
It's like, for one, they're doing a real life. I mean, this really happened. So, like, it's not like they can throw in a random flare up, you know, to spice up the movie or anything. But I mean, I do think what really happened kind of just writes itself. You know, I guess I never really gave much thought into, like, the creation of Facebook. It's always just kind of, I remember it, like, when it got big and everyone in, like, middle school was like, oh, you add me on Facebook, you know, we got Farmville, you know, when it, like, took off and, like,
I mean, yeah, it had been well established and we'd just reached the age that we could do it, you know?
Yeah. And so I've never really thought about like how it came to be at all. I've always known of Mark Zuckerberg, you know. It's like, but I don't know. He's just a weird dude to me. I would have like knowing who he is now and how he presents himself. This is not at all what I would have guessed him in college to be like. Like if this is somewhat accurate to his like personality, that's a very big shock to me, I guess. But
makes sense when you realize he becomes the youngest billionaire of all time and gets completely disconnected from reality as it is, you know? I'm coming into this movie, you know, nonplussed. I don't like Mark Zuckerberg, just on principle. So, we actually have an episode of this podcast, episode 26 of this podcast, titled 𝗙𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏.
𝗙𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏. That's sick. What did he narc on?
Just a negative term.
Just fuck him, you know?
Just fuck him. He's 𝗙𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏, you know? In fact, he's probably the opposite of a narc. He's probably covering up all sorts of illegal shit. If we're being real, this pure speculation. I have no way to know that. But, not a fan. Interesting episode. I was 19 at the time. I feel like I was just a baby. I listened to a little bit of it. That was actually also the episode fresh off of Martin Scorsese's first comments about the MCU. So we talked about that. It's interesting how that's aged for me. On a personal note, sometimes I listen to the stuff I talked about when I was 19 and I'm like, you fucking moron. Right, you know what I'm saying? Anywho, we also talked some news about Mark Zuckerberg was fresh on the public mind, so we talked about it. But man, but what I will say, this movie obviously had going for it: David Fincher, Jesse Eisenberg, Andrew Garfield. I'm in. You know, like I always, no matter how I feel about a real life person, if a movie is adapting it, I'm going to keep an open mind to the story they're telling because it's a movie version of it, you know, like, you got to create a compelling story. And if you end up, you know, there's a fine line to toe. And I think that Scorsese does a good job with it with like Wolf of Wall Street, where you're plainly depicting how much of a piece of shit this guy is without glorifying him, but you're still making the movie fucking fun to watch, you know? This one feels a little forgiving of Mark Zuckerberg, if I'm being for real.
I mean, he obviously has some reservations and he knows that he's doing the wrong thing. You know, like, it's not like he's doing it by accident. And then, like, I always forget what Timber. I always call him just Justin Timber. Sean Parker. Sean Parker had a hand in making him, like, lose Eduardo and you know, go down a different path. But, like, even before then, dude was a dick. Like,
I mean, the very first interaction in this movie,
Erica Albright, almost my character selection
love Rooney.
for the movie.
I also love Rooney Mara, fantastic actress. So, like, her role being so sparse but so important is hilarious. Really? The fact that this movie ends in a pathetic fucking loser moment of him refreshing his friend request to the girl who broke his heart, apparently, who he badmouthed because she went to BU.
How long were they dating before then? How long? Because, like, is that how he talked? She seemed used to it. She seemed like, that's just how this guy, that's how he talks. You know, this is my boyfriend, whatever. But yeah, almost gave her the character nod because she's, like, kind of responsible for creating Facebook. Like, if
right,
which is kind of crazy, and it is like the main motivation. At one point, he's like, "Oh, now I'm getting big. Now she'll love me. Now she'll think that I'm better than what I was." And there's even a scene where he's talking to Sean Parker, and he's telling a story about how a girl, like, that's how he made Flipster. Was that what it was called?
Napster.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's right. But he says there was some girl in high school that he wanted to impress, so he made it and he did it, impressed her, blah blah blah. And then Zuck's like, "Wait a minute, do you like still think about her at all today?" Like the story was not at all about that. It was like, let's fucking do this. We're ahead of the game. We're gonna go big. We're gonna be $1 billion company. And like he asks like, by the way, like they're in that club. That's what it was. Super loud. Just having that conversation, and he asks about his high school love and if he ever still thinks about her, and Sean Parker just goes, "No, man, what the fuck?" He's like, "No, obviously I don't."
Yeah.
But
no, man. Like, and that's, so this movie does enough. Well, and that's what's interesting is that the entire movie, like I would expect, and it's mostly through Jesse Eisenberg's performance of Zuckerberg that, you get any ounce of those reservations. It's not written in the dialogue per se, there's the moment at the end when Sean calls him because he's been arrested. He's doing coke with the interns. And he's just like, my God, I fucked up going with this guy. You can tell that that's how he's feeling in that moment. And, besides those looks of vague regret and a recognition of, man, I'm about to do the wrong thing, but I can't help but do the wrong thing.
Yeah. Like,
I don't like this movie up until Rashida Jones, also fantastic actress, love her, showing up and being like, you're not, he's like, I'm not the bad guy. And he's like, no. She's like, no, but you're trying really hard to be. I'm like, that's not a good way to fucking frame this guy, I don't think.
I think maybe she's trying to say the right thing, as in being like, if you were just to be you and not care about any social whatever, you wouldn't be an asshole. Like, it is purely your drive to impress people and like all of the like just weird things that makes you one, but like
the dissonance within him to feel above everyone while also wanting to get the approval of everyone. Like it's a fascinating, and it's a common thing, like this isn't some unique character trait to Mark Zuckerberg as he's portrayed in this movie. Like there's a lot of people like that, and most of them are assholes, and like I'm not saying that like, damn you're the worst person ever. I think Mark Zuckerberg has done a lot worse since this, what I'm saying? Kind of semi-responsible for some of the death of democracy as it may be known in the modern America. So,
kind of insane to think about just a college. I mean, granted, he did go to Harvard. So like, this isn't just any college kid, but like, it is just a young adult. Could have been anyone, like anyone that was decent at programming or was just like motivated enough to get people to do it. Like, have this massive hold over like everything. It's crazy, like how much social media like actually changed the world, and
Zuck is incredibly important in that.
Like MySpace. In this
he mentions that MySpace exists. Like it's not like Facebook was the first thing that ever came out. It was unique because of that initial what was exclusivity? Yes, exclusivity. You had to have the @harvard.edu email.
That's right.
Frankly, that is a fantastic idea. Like that is brilliant. You make people feel like they're a part of something, and
oh yeah.
As that grows, like you can sign up for a Facebook now, like it's nothing, like it's just, I signed up for one when I was fucking 13. It was my first social media account, like, and it's bizarre to see how it gets off the ground here. And I love the like overnight sensation it sort of feels like it became, I know that there are time jumps, and because of the editing of this movie, it feels seamless, but there is like the beginning of Facebook where it like launches and it feels like an overnight success story isn't actually an overnight success story. Like it took like a couple weeks or a month or so to get off the ground, but,
it's really boring, the reality. It's him just slaving away at his computer, just typing over and over and over.
Exactly. And that's why the editing is phenomenal in this movie. But no, I mean, I enjoy the way that they describe, on a campus with 19 Nobel laureates and 2 future Olympians and a movie star. That's a real bit of trivia. Do you know who the movie star is?
Ooh, I don't. At Harvard University?
At that time, you'll love this. You will love this.
At Harvard, I will love it. 2003. So
went to Harvard from 1999 to 2003. Natalie Portman.
Natalie Portman went to Harvard?
Yeah.
For what?
And was at Harvard at the same time as Zuckerberg. Like, that's when he creates Facebook, it's 2003. It's when she's graduating from Harvard. And Aaron Sorkin, the writer of this film, is like good friends with Natalie Portman. So Natalie Portman like took him to campus and took him to alumni dinners and showed him what life was like at Harvard and all that sort of stuff. So Natalie Portman, incredibly important in the development of this screenplay in this movie. So that's another really fun fact about it.
I had no idea she even went to Harvard in the first place. That's like,
neither did I.
It's incredible. Was it before her like movie, like her acting career, or
no? She'd I'm pretty sure at the time she was a movie star.
Yeah.
She would have been in 2 Star Wars movies come 2003.
This is true. Yeah. Okay. Wow. Yeah. She was okay. Huh. Wonder what she was going for. Or wow. Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder. Oh, and how like fucked up like. There's, groups in college. You just do some fucked up shit in college, but like the idea that like there's these exclusive bus around women, like you have to, for one, look hot, for two, be like, I don't know, something like it's just like very weird. And that was kind of like the whole
I went to Mizzou only for a semester. And so that's a big fucking university, like that's no fucking, like that is, the whole town is basically a fucking campus.
Yep.
They capture that to a fucking T. And the fact that it hadn't changed in like 15 fucking years, according to the portrayal of Harvard in 03. And because, old colleges like this are so steeped in tradition that a lot doesn't change, the people change, but the structures are the same. The clubs are the same. There's so much steeped in like, this is how it's always been done.
How Eduardo had to take care of a chicken for a week, like that's,
my God.
Like, that's hilarious. Hazing and all this stuff. Like if you're just going to like beat the shit out of people or force them to drink alcohol or like literal just like pain, like that's,
you're going to have them take care of a chicken for a week. That's a little funny.
Funny as fuck. That's like, if someone were to come up to me and be like, hey, all right, to get in this club, you got to take care of a chicken for a week. I would be like, okay. Like, I'd be like, I could say in my life.
Getting off easy.
Yeah. I was in Harvard, and I guess for a week there, I took care of a chicken. I had to do everything. But then how it came back, is that real? Is that like, did Eduardo accidentally feed a chicken some chicken and then get
that's I'm pretty sure that's real. It feels too specific to not be real. I didn't look into it. But I'm assuming 100% that that's the case.
Let's see.
Yeah, man, I love Andrew Garfield in this movie. He's definitely the highlight for me, and this being his sort of breakout role. As Eduardo in The Social Network is huge, Andrew Garfield, I consider him one of my favorite actors living, and the fact that I hadn't made it around to his breakout role until now, I was remiss, and I'm so glad that I finally did, because he gets the clean sweep for me, character and performance. Character wise, there's not a lot of likability across this film. Erica might be the only one who's like truly likable, and she's only in it for like 5 minutes total. So it's hard to go with that, but that
was my reservation. I'm like, I can't in good fit, like.
No, you get a lot more exploration of other characters, and it feels right to go with them. And so I ended up going with Eduardo, even though even with him, there are moments where you're like, man, like he's a college guy going to Harvard, like he's a little bit of a douchebag at points.
And also, it's kind of like a Barbie movie of like, at this point is not very well made with Margot Robbie as the actress.
Right.
I don't know. Mark Zuckerberg, he's not like ugly, but like if I were to picture him in college, nerd. Like that just probably looks like a nerd. I don't know if Eduardo has it like Andrew Garfield has it. You know what I mean? Is like, because the one scene
Beautiful
that,
man.
Yeah, and like, I guess I'm trying to think of like what bad he did. I remember like he's just talking to Zuck, like, why do you always got to make the girls hate us, dude? Come on. And then
he doesn't do anything like terrible.
Oh, no.
He feeds the chicken, and it's he's like, I didn't know, I made a mistake, I fucked, and it's like that I can abide. Like it's
I'm not gonna lie, I would not think about that. Like if I had to take care of a chicken and I was just eating and like I would feed it my food, and I eat, I eat chicken. I would not have thought about that. Like, no,
I'm like, I can understand how people got up in arms about it, but for me, that's just like, it's like, man, like, it sucks, but what are you gonna do? There are far worse things being done by far worse people. But there's a part at the beginning that just kind of gave me like a little bit of it's a college party, and like at a college party, people are gonna be fucking. They're going to be douchebags, and like it's at the Caribbean themed party, and he's all dressed up, and they're all admire. He's talking about how he's never been with it. Is this the movie where I can't remember if I'm talking about it the right one, where he talks about Asian girls and how. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Well, then he gets with Brenda Song later in the movie. By the way,
that's true. Yeah, his justification for I think he was like, I don't like Asian women. It's not that I just like Asian women. Mm-hmm. It's that Asian women like me, or something. Yeah. I don't know. It was something
like that. Okay. So I heard that and I was like, but like,
and then they finally have their moment.
And it's not like a terrible thing to say. But in 2003, a motherfucker's saying, people say that now, and now you look at him and you go, that's a little bit of a weird thing to say, don't you think?
I don't know about that. I mean, hey, this I love how Facebook's starting to take off. Zuckerberg's well known, but like no one knows the name Eduardo, or whatever. So like even when the girls at like, is that Mark Zuckerberg? And he's like, I mean, yeah, it's like, it is our thing, like I made it too. He like throws that in there and stuff.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I feel like he is. Sorry, a water bottle fell over there. I don't know if that got picked up, but I feel like if there is anyone that I could pick out and be like, I could chill with him in real life, Eduardo would be the closest one.
Probably.
Out of the main cast.
I'm sure as shit not hanging out with Zuck, even though the character exploration within Zuck is definitely some of the more compelling character work in Fincher movies, period. Mm-hmm. Actually,
yeah, if they try to like go into that, like him not being an asshole and like dive into that more, that could have been very interesting to see, but it was just kind of held to the end.
Well, and that's why I'm like, I think that's purposeful, like it's just a regret that he has that he can't really do anything about by the end of the movie. And I think that's why we kind of see him. It's all reserved. It's all silent. It's all internal contemplation. He doesn't have anyone left to express that regret to. My favorite line of the movie is Eduardo, and he goes, I was your only friend. You had one friend.
Yeah. And
I
love how he didn't even face him, for like the whole meeting. That was the one time he turned around. He was like,
I was your only friend. Yeah. He speaks directly to, you had one friend. And then like with the context of it being Facebook and stuff and friends being the whole fucking thing and like all that, like it's a really powerhouse line. And not only is that Andrew Garfield's performance that's getting me there, but that's the point of the movie. The heart of this movie is the betrayal that Zuck does unto Eduardo. Mm-hmm. Like that's the climax of this film. I'd seen that scene everywhere. I had no idea that was the moment in the movie that the entire thing pivoted upon. Dude,
it came together so well too. Like
it did.
I was waiting for that scene to come up, and I'm like, I want to see Andrew slam the MacBook. Mm-hmm. I've heard like so much trivia on it too. It's like they had to slam 20 of them or some shit. I don't know. Right. It was like a lot of takes that they did it for. So I'm like, I'm waiting for the scene to come up, and then when it's like the whole moment's like revealing itself, I'm like, wait, like I knew he fucked him over. Like I knew. I guess that was like the like he was mad at him.
And, you get the whole hearing and stuff in the like. so you know he fucks him over even if you've seen that scene because the movie's structured that way. Like he's suing him.
That's true. Yeah.
You know, he's testifying against him. So like it's not exactly like you got the rug pulled out from under you by having seen that scene before, which helps. But yeah, when that rolls around, man, that's a fucking powerhouse, career turning scene for Andrew Garfield. You know, like people are not fucking joking about how fantastic that scene is because I mean who knows how many phones were ringing off the fucking hook whenever they were watching that for the first. They were like, okay, but find that guy, give me his number. I want him in a movie.
Yeah,
dude's incredible.
The whole thing, him going off on Zuck is good. Like him, like realizing in the room what's happening.
That is arguably the best part.
Oh man, and you're right about the editing is because like you're jumping back and forth between the trials and all these things, and it's like, did you know that you signed your death warrant or like whatever? You know, they ask that question, and it starts out as like, what a ridiculous question to ask. No, there's no need to even re-ask the question. We don't even know what the question is. You know, you just come into the trial, and they're like, what a stupid question to ask. That's ridiculous. And they're like, can you please repeat the question? It is very fair, blah, 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 whatever. And then he's like, I think he might have turned around his chair at that time. Mm-hmm. Maybe, I don't know. But he was like, yes, no, I my own death warrant.
Right.
Or death certificate.
Certificate, yeah.
Yeah, it was, oh man. And then it cuts to him going in the room to where it is. And then from that point on, and then my favorite part was at the very end with him with Sean Parker, you know, like, here's the check, you know, don't cash it because it's in the bank account you froze. Well, you know, just like, you know, just Andrew gives him a nice little.
I love standing next to you.
Oh, it makes me feel, was it tough? Makes me feel strong. Makes me feel, I don't know, something like that.
It makes me seem so tough.
That's right. Yeah. Oh,
or it makes me look so tough. You know, he's like, compared to you, people perceive me as the tough guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are such a pussy that I'm the tough guy next to you.
Yeah, and is it, like, his thing is that he just, like, he got, was it fucked up because he just got with the interns, or like, was there something that I kind of missed of them being like underage? Was it underage in the sense that they couldn't be drinking? Like,
they couldn't be drinking. They were not 21. They were not younger than 18 though.
I wanted to make sure on that because I was just a little.
I don't think there's I don't believe that. And if that is the case, they didn't do enough to drive that home. Mm-hmm. But I think because they were in college, they were interning. Like, I think that they are college age kids who cannot legally drink, but then you add cocaine into the mix, and this dude's like 25.
Yeah,
you know, and it's just like, all right, you're clearly responsible.
An intern as well, so it's like, it was a whole lot of things going wrong there. But no, that I don't know if I explicitly said it, but him coming back for, you know, I'm not coming back for 30%. I'm coming back for everything. That's my scene in the movie. I mean, I couldn't pick anything else, even though it was the only scene I know. Well, that's not true. The hacking scene, I guess I saw, but no, that Andrew, I never knew this was his breakout role, but it's awesome to think that the next thing he landed was Spider-Man. Like, after this, that's just that's badass. Like, not a critically. It's not like you're in a De Niro and Scorsese.
No, but you're an iconic character.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different kind of role. But man, no,
that elevates him to movie stardom. You know, like this is a good, heartfelt supporting role in a critically acclaimed movie, and that he followed up by being the biggest Marvel character in the history of Marvel.
Mm-hmm. And
he became a blockbuster movie star. And like, that's super fucking cool. And the fact that, I mean, like, not to keep connecting it to comic book movies, but I think it's hilarious that Zack Snyder watched this and was like, this evil tech bro guy could be Lex Luthor.
Wow. They literally, oh my God, that's incredible. They watch this movie and they're like, wow, this Eduardo guy, he's so nice. Like, even though Zuck's being such a dick to him, like, he's still so nice. What a hero. this guy is. Let's make him Spider-Man. They're like, wow, yeah, this Zuckerberg guy, he's an asshole. Villain. Let's make him that's, I don't know, I do like that. I did give Andrew Garfield the character, just because he is somewhat, he seems just very chill. The one with the most level head, it seemed, the whole time. But I did end up going with Jesse Eisenberg for Zuck. I don't know what it is. Andrew Garfield kind of plays the role of the nice guy a lot of the times, but man, does Jesse Eisenberg just play this douchebag, pretentious, just asshole well. I mean, I seem like, and Now You See Me is like what it kind of reminded me of, is like him in that, but like I put a line here and I didn't know which one to pick. I think I will go with this one, but I love whenever he just kind of, like, he is an asshole and I'm not rooting for him, but there is something like when he just shuts everyone up in the room and like they can't say anything. They're like, well, nope, you're fucking right. Like, shit, like we can't really do anything about that. I love those moments. And this one, it is pretty pretentious, but it's the delivery of it and then like the scene of it and all. But he says, ma'am, I know you've done your homework and, I just did that wrong. And money isn't a big part of my life. But at this moment, I could buy Mount Auburn Street, take the Phoenix Club, and turn it into my ping pong room, is what he said. And then I think he's like, right after that, he just like looks out the window and he's like, oh, it's raining, or like something like that. Like, and that could just be, I don't know, it could be a big time jump in between there. But I love how he just doesn't give a fuck about like authority or like any of his trials that he's in. He's just like wearing sandals, and shorts and whatever. Everyone else is in suits. And he's just,
that was one thing. That's a bit of trivia about this too. Mark Zuckerberg, he's been very sparse in his commentary on this film, the real life Mark Zuckerberg. He says that there are a lot of glaring inaccuracies, but one thing that the film got right was his wardrobe, the attire.
Wow.
He was like, that is what I wore, like that is what I looked like. So like that's the easiest thing to concede in this movie, I think. So like, and it's a overwhelmingly, like while I say it's kind of forgiving of Zuckerberg, it's still like, if I was Zuckerberg at the time when this movie came out, I probably would have felt a little heated about it. Like it's not so forgiving that it's like, oh, Zuck's a hero. He's the man who came from nothing and conquered everything. Like it's
doesn't paint him in a good light though. This is and maybe that's why his comments are so sparse. Is he's like, yeah, that is what I wore. But I don't really want to admit that I was a complete and utter asshole all throughout.
A complete and utter asshole who, it's commented on in the film where like, and this is the story that I'd always heard, the brothers that he stole the idea from. I'd always heard that, and I was interested to see exactly how that played out there.
Tyler Vindel. Oh my God, I'm Tyler Vindelvoss. This is my brother. The way they talked was just like unreal. That was,
and the visual effects on that are so good. You cannot even tell Armie Hammer's a cannibal.
Wait.
Yeah, you didn't see that coming. Yeah, the actor is a terrible human.
Wait. I thought you. Oh, okay. I mixed two things here. I thought you were about to say you couldn't even notice the VFX. Wait a minute. What do you mean cannibal?
That's the same guy playing both of those brothers. It's Armie Hammer.
Did he eat his twin in the womb or something like that? Or what do you mean
No,
cannibal?
Armie Hammer legitimately got caught for like having human remains in his home and having eaten it. Like, that's a real fucking story. That is incredibly disturbing.
Ate his twin in the womb or some shit, and then you were just trying to, like, you were saying, yeah, that's just him. That's, for one, it's unbelievable. I really thought that was two different people.
Very, very good visual effects there.
Holy shit, that's actually kind of nuts. I think
when I saw Armie Hammer's name pop up, I went, I was like, fuck,
That's not good. And throwing in forced cannibal, maybe, was that like, it obviously wasn't known at this point when he's making.
No, that's a recent development.
Okay,
and
that's incredible that the chicken story is in there, though. That's kind of weird that you have a chick like force feeding, forced cannibalization for a chicken, and then we have an actual cannibal in the movie. Wow, that's insane. You blew my mind twice there. Not knowing that it was actually just one guy, and then two, I had no idea that this dude's actually kind of a little fucking crazy.
Not just kind of a little nuts. He is extremely nuts.
Yeah,
and it's like a sexual thing too. Like he's like really, he's real sick. Yeah. Armie Hammer, not a good guy. So that's all. I had to get the joke in there that the visual effects were so good you couldn't even tell this guy was a cannibal. But that was I
had no idea. I thought he was just a Harvard Road dick. But
there is actually a really interesting thing they do with the visual effects where there's one point in the movie where I think it's after Eduardo and Zuck both get it on in the bathroom, and then they're standing outside, and a dude approaches, and Eduardo's like, a couple of ladies are freshening up in there, and the guy goes, nice, and he walks away.
Right.
That guy plays one of the brothers from the, like, shoulders down, and then it's Armie Hammer's face, like, imposed onto his.
Incredible. Wow, that's like, I had no thoughts whatsoever. I thought
it's very clean. It is very, very cleanly done. But yeah, I was like, I wanted to get that out of the way.
Awesome. Man, yeah, no, but they, I wonder, all they really had was like, yeah, in the Harvard student handbook, it says you can't steal.
This guy's like, are you fucking kidding me? The president of Harvard being like, all right, get the fuck out of my office.
Yeah, that was a pretty good scene as well. He looking over to like his assistant. I forgot what her name was. Just Maria for the time being. He was like, Maria, punch me in the face or whatever. Like just in the middle of the boys talking.
Right.
And oh man, yeah, that was pretty good. Is he? I thought I recognized him from somewhere, but I don't know. It was very.
I mean, the cast on this one is deep. There are a lot of very small roles performed by actors who are very, very familiar to me. As far as just like on site, when I look at them, I'm like, yeah, I've seen these people prior. Let's see.
Was he the just president of what was his like position in Harvard? He was the dean, maybe.
He was, I can't remember specifically what the position he held was, but it was high up. He was like the president of the university or something like that.
Can't find him on the.
Larry Summers.
Is that him?
His name is his real life name is Douglas 𝗙𝘃𝗏.
There he is. See, what is he in? So Darkest? Yeah, nope.
Looks like mostly a producer and stuff, which is interesting.
Yeah, don't know him then. I guess he looks. No, I think I know. Okay, I know the actor I'm trying to think of. I can picture his face. Perfect. He's in Ford vs Ferrari, and he is Ford. He's like, he's like Henry Ford, the whatever, or the guy who's running. Oh my God, what's his name?
Tracy Letts?
Tracy Letts, yes, Henry Ford II. That's who I thought it was, but not now that I'm looking at him, it's not even close.
Yeah, Tracy Letts, the dad in Lady Bird.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's right. Chill guy, I remember.
Good man. Good dude. But yeah, no, there are a lot of little roles in this that I did find deeply enriching. A lot of the lawyers in those sequences are really, really, really well acted. Like it's a small role; they don't have a lot to do, but they're important in the moments they're there, and the fact that they just kind of sink into the background almost. And
that's crazy.
They fit right in. Like they don't particularly stand out for any reason one way or another. And I think in a movie like this, that's a good thing. You're trying to shine a light on Zuckerberg, and you're trying to shine a light on Eduardo, and I think that ends up paying off really well, especially when you like there are a lot of those moments, like the one you just said, the reactions in the room, your line, whenever he delivered that, were impeccable. You know, like his team
like,
of lawyers, like kind of like smiled and put their heads down, like, oh shit, you know, like,
you could tell they wanted to go like, you know, like if it wasn't like
got her ass, you know,
it wasn't like a formal situation, like, oh man, no, that, yeah, he had a couple of those though.
Oh, I loved the one where he was like, so 18,000 plus the 1,000 that was original. Oh, wait, hold on a second. 19. Yeah, your math checks out or whatever.
It does check out. No, oh man, he's such an asshole. Like I don't like that, you know, like and there's no way I could say something like that to another person. Like, there's just no fucking shot. But man, I don't know. In a movie moment, that's a good. I don't know. It's just
and that's the thing is that like when it comes to, you know, movies that are portraying real people, there are these moments in these movies where, as far as within the context of the film and as a character moment, you can appreciate it. But the idea that a real life person did this makes you go, oh, they're a fucking dick. You know, oh, they're a terrible person.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's some stuff in the movie that could just be dramatized and made up, whatever. But, I mean, he legitimately made Face Smash. That, like,
that did happen.
All of the pictures of everyone in the school and put that out, like, I mean, it is kind of what launched the idea of like the exclusivity, you know, and gave those guys.
Well, and he actually still stands by that choice as the Face Smash thing. He's like, it was a college prank, you know, it was no big deal. But it's like, you know, you really hurt some feelings that night, man. It's a little bit of a big deal.
Yeah, that, I mean, and that's why what almost made me go with Albright, is it Erica? Is that her name?
Erica? Yeah.
Yeah. What almost made me go with her is at the end, whenever she's at like I don't know, just dinner with her friends, whatever, and Zuck walks up to her. She's like, you fucking, like, the internet is an ink, you know? Like, you put all that stuff up there, you said all these things about me, like, people thought about me completely differently because of you. And like,
the fucking blog. Zuck on this or whatever the fuck. What a loser.
Yeah.
What a loser.
God damn. Oh my god. Yeah, that's and him like she's just sitting there talking to him, and like one guy at the table, like, is there a problem here? She's like, oh no problem at all. And Zuck like the whole time is just like, can we just please like go somewhere, like, I don't know, just like alone and talk, like you're really embarrassing me right now. It's like, well,
you deserve it, fuck boy.
Yeah.
You know, like I do appreciate the way Fincher kind of plays with the, you know, the devil on the shoulder thing. Like, Sean Parker is a little bit of the Tyler Durden to Zuck here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he offers him something that he's always wanted. Even if he can comprehend in his mind, like, oh, this guy's not the best, but like when they're sitting down at that dinner or that meeting for the first time, that was my first choice for my favorite scene before some later stuff. And it's Eduardo, Christy, and Zuck sitting across the table from Sean Parker. And Eduardo is immediately skeptical. And, you know, there's a little bit of a jealousy, like, Eduardo knows he's the money behind this. He's not the brains, and someone who's founded Napster at 19, and, you know, like, he did all this. Like, this guy's smarter than I am, probably. So he's a little insecure straight off the rip, but he's got him down pat. He knows this dude is a douchebag loser. He knows that for a fact. But he offers something to Mark that he's always wanted. You know, he's like, he's got the cool lifestyle. He's living large. It seems, you know, he's broke as fuck. He's never made any money. And that's another thing that you got to keep in mind with Sean Parker, is that the entire time he's just trying to glom on to Mark and make it seem like he's worth something.
Yeah, even the girl she hooks up with, she's like, you're like a zillionaire, dude.
Like,
and it's like,
no,
that's like the whole point of his thing, is to just give music for free. He changed the music. Did it really change the music industry?
That was a very real thing. Yeah. Napster was you know,
like
it was a little bit of like a pirating thing. Like it was like at the dawn of the internet. It seemed like, you know, is this legal? It's kind of like with AI, right? There's no laws. It's kind of like Wild West out there, you know, like they were just like, here's a bunch of music for free. And they were like, fuck, now we got to make laws to make sure you can't do shit like that, you know? That was kind of the deal there. But Napster, followed by LimeWire and all the pirating music sites.
LimeWire. I knew about LimeWire. Okay.
LimeWire was a little bit more our era. Napster was what kind of came before it. LimeWire was the much sketchier one because it had been against the law come that point, while Napster was founded in a time when it was like, and then Napster became something else thereafter, like it did become an official sort of outlet, but you know, I don't know much about it. But
I have a question. Usually I go too deep into things for movies. This one's not one that you can really go too deep into. It's kind of just very surface level, telling you how the story happened. But the one thing I was kind of like thinking about is Sean Parker. He's so like paranoid, you know, and he's like, they'll tap your phones, they're listening to me, they send investigators, blah 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 blah, all this stuff. And then at that dinner, though, he is saying exactly the words that Zuckerberg said to 𝗙𝘀𝘀. Like, I mean, exactly. What we have right now is fun. If you throw ads on it, it loses all the fun. There's no party, you know, all this stuff. Like, I mean, not just the same idea. He was saying the same
like
phrase.
Verbatim.
I mean, the same exact thing. And I was wondering if that was just to show that, like, these two guys just have the same mind. You know, like, they just think alike. They're just kind of, like, this is Zuck if he was hot and could be Justin Timberlake, you know. But I don't know. That was very weird because he does show up at his California house with that one, you know, I don't know who it was. And at first he was like...
that is interesting to contemplate whether or not he was like, oh, I didn't know you were... Mark? Where's Eduardo? You know, that whole thing. I hadn't considered that. That's interesting.
What got me like to start to think about it really was like the verbatim thing was weird, and I'm like, I don't. That could just be a coincidence, or could just be.
Well, and it's also just like a logic thing for what Facebook is at that time. Like, what Eduardo wants to do with it is something they will and should eventually do, but at the stage it's at, it could stop it in its tracks. You know, so like, I think that like, he's the one that's the money behind it. He wants to start making money off of it. You know, he's like, I need to get some of this money back. I'm putting it in and putting it in, and I'm not getting anything in return. Like, we need to figure out a way to monetize this. And just at that stage, that probably would have halted Facebook dead in its tracks. And I think Sean and Mark understood that. But
I don't know. Whenever Sean shows up to the California house,
that is weird. That's a wild coincidence.
I think it's Alice, maybe, is the girl's name that he shows up with. But he says, "Hey, you know, like, what's going on? You're here? We're across the street. How fucking crazy is that?" And then the girl is like, "Yeah, hey, I'm Alice, I'm out. I don't know, whatever." And like, she doesn't introduce herself as Sean Parker's wife, but Sean Parker starts to say, "This is my wife," and then he cuts himself off. He's like, "Oh, this is Alice." Like he was trying to like con him. Yeah, like I felt like he was trying to con him from the very beginning, because like, no shot he lives across the street. You know, like,
yeah, I mean, she does.
And that's how we got in. That's his in.
I kind of took it. You're right. He does start to say something. I took that to mean he doesn't know how to define this thing he's got with this lady, and he doesn't want to define
wife,
it.
Though, there's no shot that's his wife. No, he doesn't have a wife. Dude just fucks.
No, I don't think like, that's why I'm questioning whether or not he was going to say wife. Maybe
I think it was. I'm pretty certain that it was wife. I don't. I'm going to try to find it in the movie, but that's such a small part. I don't know.
I'm like, maybe one night stand. This is my.
I'm pretty sure it was wife. Like, he was about to say wife. Because I mean, I wouldn't have really thought that much into it unless it was like this very weird timings that he's shown up and like perfectly knows what they're saying to each other. But I don't know. Maybe I could be wrong. Maybe yeah, one night stand that could be. But I don't know.
I mean, yeah. Regardless, no, I didn't read into it too much. I think that, I mean, either way, what you're getting there is someone who feels that he's found a way in. He's found a way to make money, and what that way is just leeching off of this man's idea and trying to attach himself at his hip and be the one who says all the stuff he wants to hear, regardless of whether or not he believes it. And I think he does, but like, he goes on that whole fucking thing in the nightclub later on about what you were talking about earlier. And he's like, was that a parable? And Mark's like, I don't even really know why that was relevant. Like, what are you even fucking talking about, dude?
That is kind of true. Like, why did he bring that up there? Yeah, like, he was just talking about how he wanted to impress a girl. Like, but that's the thing, is that the story didn't start out as, like, I wanted to impress this girl, and I did what I did. It was like, I feel like it kind of started randomly. I don't know. Maybe the next time I watch this, I'll pay attention to him a little bit closer. But I don't know. Like, what does that even mean? If there is something deeper into it, is there, like, he's a plant, and they're,
No, yeah, like, if it is something deeper, it's just that he's a hacker.
Mm-hmm.
And he's managed to figure out stuff about Zuck that he can find his way in with. And I don't think that changes the story all that much. Like, it's because either way, he accomplishes exactly what he means to accomplish, and then his own shitheadedness catches up with him. Like, one way or another, that's how that plays out there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he has a very interesting role in this movie. Justin Timberlake, I was having a conversation, who it was with, but we were trying to decide of, like, who was the most talented person in Hollywood. Just, like, overall, not just acting, but, like, just just everything.
All around.
And two names that we, like, landed on was Justin Timberlake and
Jamie Foxx.
Yes, Jamie Foxx. Both for, like, they're both comedians, or, like, Jamie Foxx more of a comedian.
I would argue 15 times out of
Justin Timberlake has his SNL days, and he's on. He's more of a music maker. But Jamie Foxx also makes music. He can
and is a truly good actor.
Yeah, he can actually sing incredibly. He can, like, the impressions that the dude can do are insane.
The best Trump impression I've ever heard.
I saw that the other day. That was nuts. But someone tried to tell me
Death Row Records. I love Death Row.
Yeah,
I love Death Row.
I forgot who I was talking with, but they were, like, so adamant that Timberlake was more talented than Jamie Foxx. And I'm like, I don't.
Whoever you were talking to is brain dead.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know, man. This is like, what movies can you tell me that Justin Timberlake is in other than, like, The Social Network?
This is his best role.
Yeah, you have Jamie
critically
Foxx.
Because he doesn't have to do a lot.
Yeah,
he gets to play a douchebag.
Yeah.
Who is an absolute loser, and his other shit is, like, goofy rom-coms and shitty schlock, like, and
I wonder what his IMDb page looks like.
Friends with Benefits. I love Friends with Benefits, but it's not because he's good in it. It's because it's a cute fucking movie. You know what I'm saying? Like, when it comes to Jamie Foxx, the man's an Oscar nominee. You know what I'm saying? Like, this man is. So, like, I don't want to get too deep into the Jamie Foxx versus Justin Timberlake discussion simply because it's, for me, it's such a no-brainer. It's no contest.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That is what I thought. But I don't want to, just I don't know, go just talk shit on Justin Timberlake.
No, talented gentleman to be sure. You have to have some sort of talent to get to where he's at. But, I think that there's this thing that has happened throughout music history that continues to be prevalent to this day. And it's, I think there was a lyric that J. Cole said that really, really put it well. That was like, it's the same shit that they did to rock and roll. Elvis, Justin Timberlake, Eminem, Macklemore. It's like, like they all, he had this era where he collaborated with Timbaland, and he did this big thing where he went into R&B, soul, hip hop territory. and it feels inauthentic looking back, especially with like this Britney Spears autobiography that just came out. Have you been hearing about that shit?
No.
Oh, he's getting ran through the fucking mud right now.
Timberlake is?
Yeah.
Wow.
They dated back in the day and did not go well.
Okay.
Yeah, no, and I always knew that, but
wow.
Yeah, it's
crazy. We got a Cannibal that's somewhat recent coming out. I don't know how somewhat recent that is, but this seems pretty
within
recent.
the last couple years. I can't remember when it was.
Timberlake feels pretty recent on him.
No, I mean, like that was within the last couple weeks. Timberlake, like that's he apparently, and at the time, him and Britney were of one mind on it, but Britney looks back and regrets it deeply. She was pregnant with his kid, and he asked her to get an abortion.
Okay.
Apparently, he posed the idea and pushed for it. Which is like, I think it's a whole other debate. But
hey, look what the social networks doing, man. We're hitting everything.
All the shit, man. Yeah, no, I mean, like, and it's a real story. It's not like this is. It's just about social media, basically, and the effect it had on all these dudes and how it blew them up.
I've always been like, if I could hit a big red button and just shut off all social media, I would. Probably in a heartbeat. I don't think I really would think about it.
Don't think there's a lot of thought that has to go into that decision for me.
But like, I've never really thought of like why it's bad, or like, like the true and they kind of paint a lot of reasons very clearly here. They're like, oh yeah, let's just start Facebook. You know how we had to hack and get all that information before, and it was just pictures? People will give us their information. They will give us their name, their address, their pictures, their everything. We don't have to hack for it. Let's just make it, make a facade where it's like, hey, it's exclusive. Sign up for this. But it's like, oops, thank you for giving me all of your information and everything like that. One thing, and then also, and just the social aspects of it as well. I think it's just like, you're very, very much, you can say anything behind a keyboard, when you're in the comfort of your own home. But when you're face to face with that,
they hit that straight off the rip with him going home, getting drunk, and being like, "Yeah, she says she's a 34C, but she's actually a 34B." It's like,
dog,
dude,
Victoria's Secret.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's another Timberlake thing.
Yeah.
What the hell, dude? What is he?
Yeah, because he asked why does she look familiar? And he goes on this whole fucking tangent and he goes, was that a parable? What the fuck was even the point of that?
That's what it was. Oh my god. Yeah, I'd say maybe he just he either read up, on he's trying to con Zuckerberg, so like he's gonna do his research and like maybe he tapped his phone. Maybe he's like telling him, I'm so paranoid that all these people are doing things to me, but he's just like saying it to Zuckerberg so that he would never think that Sean Parker's doing it to him.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing, is that I don't think this is a one and done movie for me at all. I thought it would be, because it's like, it's a true story and it's like Zuck, and I'm like, I don't really care that much about Facebook anyways. But like, it's just a good movie.
It's a really, really, really well done film. I don't. I'm sure I'll rewatch it at some point. Like I'm not saying that this is something that I'm like, you know what, I'm good off it. No, like it's more than good enough to warrant a revisit, but it's not one of those movies that I'm like, when it comes to like the Fincher ranking right now, I've watched 5 David Fincher movies.
Ooh.
And I've got them in order right now as Gone Girl, Fight Club, The Social Network, and then 7 and Zodiac are kind of interchangeable for me at 4 and 5.
Okay. Yeah, I still haven't seen Gone Girl. I really do need to get around to that. But, I mean, as far as 7 goes, this isn't above 7. As far as Fight Club goes, I don't think it's above Fight Club. Well, I guess overall it could be above 7.
No, like, here's my thing. And comparing it to Fight Club last week, I don't think it's as enjoyable a watch. I think it is much better. I think it is a far better movie than Fight Club.
Oh, yeah. I don't
I like. I have a greater desire to revisit Fight Club than I do The Social Network.
Yes.
But as far as the critical value of the two, I don't. I think this is better by a good amount. In fact,
and you bringing up the editing and how like you noticed it and it was just done very well.
It was seamless.
It's a thing that I don't really notice at all in movies. I didn't notice it. I guess like I didn't particularly pick it out and be like, oh wow, this editing's very nice. But like now that you're talking about it, like I love whenever movies can do this thing of like jumping back and forth and revealing things at the perfect time and like all this stuff. And I mean, they did it perfectly for this story. It was like, I love that it wasn't just chronological, that it was like, it was chronological, but then when you needed to do some like character study, they jump to the trial and be like, this is why I fucking hate his guts. Understand?
Oh, dude, it was fucking seamless, you know, like, and that's, I love, this movie is a really tight 2 hours too. I had the most fucked up sleep schedule last night. Okay. So I fall asleep at like midnight for no fucking reason. No idea why. I wake up at 3 a.m. Luckily, the night before I had rented The Social Network. I was like, well, I'm going to watch it tomorrow. Might as well get out ahead of it. Woke up at 3 a.m. I was like awake. I was like, no idea why. Throw on The Social Network. I watched it from like 3:15 to 5:15 this morning. And I would, you know, I'd get up to go pee, whatever. Every time I paused it, I was like 30 to 40 minutes deeper into the movie than I was previously. And I was like, holy shit, like the movie just moves. And that's because the editing is so seamless, the writing is so tight, and the performances are like, and it's a satisfying looking movie. It's got that Fincher sheen, you know, that like that piss yellow, yeah, and I say it piss yellow and it gives it a negative connotation, but like that's what Fincher movies look like.
That is true. 7, I'd say. That's, I mean, I don't know.
7, Zodiac. Fight Club had more of the Zodiac gets like, or Fight Club gets like that blue tint a lot of times, which is really, and I think Gone Girl and Fight Club and The Social Network all kind of have that more in common, but it kind of, The Social Network is kind of like a best of both worlds, where it meshes what I feel like the two polar opposite sort of color palettes that Fincher works with. He kind of puts them together. Mindhunter has that yellow sheen to it, you know. But I've always appreciated the work he does with color because he's got a very specific color palette. And he's not afraid to hammer away at it. Like, if you watch Zodiac and then you watch Mindhunter and then you watch this and 7, they've got a similar taste going on, and I think that's it's a style, but it's not so, it's not Wes Anderson, obviously, where it's like you're watching a fucking Wes Anderson movie, you know, like it's it's a little more difficult to decipher, but it's still very, very profound, I think.
You know, I really like his style. It feels just very like cinematic. I know that's very, you know, obviously it's cinematic, like he's making a feature film here, but like this is what I feel like the stereotypical almost like cinematic looks like to me for some reason. Like this
like when you think of what a movie looks like, it looks like a Fincher film.
I don't know why.
I get you.
It just I don't know.
I mean, like you're saying that's like a blanket, very broad thing to say. That's some of the highest praise you can give someone's movies. Is that like if you think of what a movie is supposed to look like, it looks like this guy's movies. That's pretty fucking nice, you know. I found I have like a great appreciation for Fincher as far as the talent that goes into his films and the performances and the visuals and everything. But I've been left in a place where I don't love them as much as I want to, you know, like I don't have a desire to revisit them like I do with Scorsese movies and West movies, but they still have their place where it's like,
this, I don't, man, I think you hit the nail on the head of like the ending. The ending just kind of like, I don't know. Like I don't know, like, it kind of doesn't match the rest of the tone of the whole movie. You know, it's like,
Right.
it's just kind of right at the end there, and they say that. And it's like if Scorsese was given this story, I think he makes Zuckerberg look like, I mean, actively look like an asshole. You know, and I don't know, I don't know what could have been done to, like, go into that part of the story more. I don't know. Maybe
No,
like
I mean,
check.
I think that it's kind of misplaced. I think it's kind of. I don't think she needs to say that to him. I think that it would have been because he says it first, right? Like, I'm not the bad guy. Do I recall that correctly?
Yeah, I think
Or
like
did she just say you're not the bad guy, but you're trying really hard to be? Or does she say that in response to him saying, I'm not the bad guy?
I think he does say something right there. Let me see if I can just pull up the ending scene real quick. Because, yeah, I mean, that is real sad to see him request or refresh over and over. But he says, let's see, it's coming up. Oh, yeah, he's refreshing now. So
it would have been before that, I think.
Thank you for your help today. Nope. She just says it. You're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying so hard to be. And that's, yeah, just all. I think he's like, he just asks if he can use the computer before. He's like, hey, could I use this computer? You know, whatever. And then, but I guess she is, like, her job is to get him to appeal to the courts well. Mm-hmm. You know, like, that is what, I guess, I don't know, was she hired, like, because she was like, I'm just on, like, the team here, whatever. Was she, like, did she go out of her way to tell this to him? And like, or is she actually, like, his court advisor? And, like, she will be the one, like, going through.
Yeah, she works with the lawyer who is defending him.
Yeah. So, like, I guess in that sense, maybe it's a lie, you know, to get him just to act better. Like, I don't know. Like, she was very, like, I forgot the question he asked, you know, like, yeah.
I'm pretty sure he says, I'm not a bad guy. Let me see. I'm watching it now.
Yeah. What a jury. Okay.
She asks what happened to Sean. You know, he gives her an answer there. He offers her something to eat. And then he goes, I'm not a bad guy.
Wow. So
they sit in silence for a second. He closes the computer. He goes, I'm not a bad guy.
Okay. Yeah, it did just come up. Wow.
I think, and she goes, I know that. And then she gives him nothing but reassurance thereafter. I think a much more profound way to leave that is if the person who is being paid to defend him and help him in court, when he goes, I'm not a bad guy, goes, just kind of leaves, lets him sit with that. You know, like, I'll see you tomorrow, Mark. And then he opens the computer and refreshes the screen and refreshes the screen and refreshes the screen. And you're left with a much more like, is he a bad guy thing? You know, like, I feel like it's very, very forgiving.
Yeah.
Because it directly addresses his insecurity. Like, he is like, for that to have even occurred, he had to have been worried that she thought he was a bad guy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. It is very strange. The end of, like, it is sad, and, like, you know, it is just those lines that really kind of change the scene. But, like, I guess if you cut that out and it's just him sitting there, and, you know, it is a sad ending, you know, to be like, wow, this dude is.
Yeah, and then maybe they try to do a thing where, like, I don't know, but then maybe I look at that like, oh, they're trying to make me pity him. You know, like, I don't know, like, because I don't pity him. but I also don't agree with what Rashida Jones' character says, where it's like, you're not an asshole, Mark. You're just trying really hard to be. Well, trying really hard to be an asshole, guess what? Makes you an asshole.
Yeah. I don't think anyone is ever innately just born an asshole, like.
No, if you're an asshole, you're making an effort to be an asshole.
Yeah, it's to be nice to someone, that takes more effort than just being, hey, how are you? Good. How are you? Blah, 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 go away. You can be the neutral person, human. Mm-hmm. It takes effort to be nice.
And it takes effort to be mean.
To be mean. Yeah, it's like, it works both ways. And, like, I don't know. It feels like he's just, it is a really interesting, like, personality, like, spotlight on him. Because this is a very prominent figure in our world,
dude.
It's crazy to think he is like a multi-billionaire, and now he's not even fucking with Facebook at all. He's just trying to make VR and AR.
Meta.
It's like,
yeah,
like, I mean, he already changed the world socially one time, like, can he? I mean,
there's been interesting conversation in the last couple of weeks that I'm very, very happy I made it around at this movie. Aaron Sorkin and David Fincher are contemplating doing a second movie because there's been so much development in the story of Mark Zuckerberg that you can make a whole other movie.
Yeah, you
and
could.
It still be an open end, and it could be much more. I mean, given what happened in like 2016 and the way that Facebook played such a critical role in sort of swaying masses and political influence, you could make a much more damning case against Zuck, So I wonder if the hesitation there might be like, could there be legal action taken, so et cetera, et cetera. But
true. Yeah, I guess this movie came out
2010. It's pretty fresh off of it, it's
wow. That's kind of nuts.
It is, because if it took 5 years from 2003 when they created Facebook for these hearings to happen, that's 2008.
Wow.
And then they were like, let's make a movie about this shit.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it did take over it's like, they're like, holy shit, this is the biggest story in the world right now. Let's make it.
And like 𝗙𝘀𝘀 got like an unknown settlement. Like it's not even known on paper how much money he received.
I like, that's kind of fucked. And
maybe they didn't want to. Well, I took it as like maybe they didn't want to set a precedent for how much they would be willing to give in this sort of settlement. Like it's like such a damning number that indicates that he fucked him over so hard that
they had this I feel like the brothers, the Rowe brothers, whatever, they didn't really have, I mean, they got 60 something million out of that, something like that, which is,
that's a drop in the fucking book. She said it's a speeding ticket.
To him it is. Like, literally, it's nothing. But 𝗙𝘀𝘀 had an actual legal, very hard legal claim. Yeah, like, they really fucked him over. Like, I guess legally he did sign those contracts.
Yeah, and then on the stationery, to be honest, I thought they were my lawyers. That was devastating too. Like the guy was like,
yeah, there's not many. Like, I didn't cry. The closest I did was whenever he's running through, like, all right, this person, what were their shares liquidated down to? They weren't. This person, what were their shares liquidated down to?
And he's just fucking staring bullets at Zuck, dude. It is so, like, Andrew Garfield is so fucking good. I haven't said my favorite scene, but my favorite scene is right before the climax, really. It's when Zuck calls him to let him know, hey, we got a massive investment, $500,000. I need you to come out here and celebrate.
Yeah.
And they're talking on the phone. Christy just got back, and he's real paranoid about something, which is also really interesting. You get a little bit of that Fincher thing where 𝗙𝘀𝘀's really paranoid. He sees the shadows under the door, and she opens the door, and he's like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" But anywho, she's apparently quite nutty. you know, she sets a fire in his bed and he has to put it out while he's on the phone. And
whoa. I mean, what was her name in Zack and Cody?
London Tipton.
Good old London Tipton. I don't know how that was a crazy, just someone to show up. I'm like, wait a minute, that's London fucking Tipton, dude.
Brenda fucking Song, baby.
Yeah, was spent with her, but that is interesting. Yeah, I bet they paid him a shit ton, for Eduardo settlement. That is very his shares were liquidated down to 0.03%. I think is what it was.
The exact inverse of 30.
Yeah, let's see. If he just kept that, just 0.03 and was okay with it, Facebook is worth $801 billion right now. So that'd be 0.0003. He would still have $240 million. 0.03%. That's just crazy. You know, to think that he could have hundreds of billions. Actually,
millions, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, no,
240 million.
It's worth 800 billion. 30%. Well, I guess it's
30%. I thought we were saying 0.03.
I guess if he kept his full percentage, what he if he stayed in the company the whole time and kept his 30, you know, I guess it would have to be liquidated down. I don't know all the stuff shit, but I wonder if he got more from he had to have gotten more from the settlement. There's no way. Well, I guess compared to now of Facebook's value now versus what he got in the settlement.
I'd be willing to. I mean, and there's no telling, but I'm throwing at least half a bill at that.
You think? Damn.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Woo. I mean, that's a paycheck right there. And I mean, dude was putting in the work. He was trying to just get advertisers, I guess. You know, he was going through the subway. Zuck was supposed to pick him up from the airport. You know,
damn,
he's walking.
That shit sucked too.
Dude, everything just sucked. I just felt so bad.
And it's Sean who answers the door, and you're like, this fucking loser, you know?
He doesn't even know Sean is there. And he's like,
Sean? The fuck are you doing? You know, he's like, oh, I live here. You know, fucking douchebag. I fucking hated Sean, but man, I don't know. I'm left in a place that I'm very, very happy with this movie. I thought it was incredibly well done. And I had a great time watching it. You know, I think that, it was well deserving of every little nod it got, I think. And, you know, that's kind of rare. Sometimes, you know, the Academy gets caught up in the overflowing love of a movie and they start throwing it nods that it might not have earned. But I think this one did earn it, you know, cinematography. I think that's the last one for us. I don't think we've shared our shots, but,
oh yeah, I have.
During the hacking, the hacking, shooting, drinks competition. Yep. My favorite shot comes whenever they're like, done. And he walks up to them and he shakes the dude's hand and the crowd goes fucking nuts. He's lit really dramatically. Everyone's going nuts. And he just kind of looks over and smiles at Eduardo. And it's it's real subtle. It was a trailer moment. I remember this shot vividly from when it was being promoted, the movie.
Mm-hmm. Welcome to Facebook.
Man, it was fucking good.
I mean, that's pretty hype, you know.
Yeah,
and Eduardo being like
at the up and coming Facebook.
Yeah, and Eduardo being like, so what does being drunk have to prove anything? You know, what does that have to mean? You know, he's like, I don't get it, but then he's like, all right, this shit's kind of cool. He was like after he's like, welcome to Facebook. He was like, okay, that was pretty sick. Not gonna lie, what a pretty cool recruitment process. I guess kind of does make sense. If you can do it drunk, you can do it sober, you know.
To be sure.
You got to be locked in. I love the locked in, you know, oh, don't talk to him. He's locked in right now.
Wired in.
Oh, what? Yeah, is that it? Andrew, what's up? He's like,
wired in.
Not right now. You know, he's like, good job. Attaboy, or whatever. Like checking in to make sure he was wired in. But yeah, my shot was whenever they were making it was the foundings of Facebook. Zuck asks Eduardo for I need an algorithm to come up with these girls. Or no, it's not Facebook's founding. It is Face Smash. I believe, and he writes the algorithm on the window. But then there's a shot of it like it's outside of the window looking in to like him writing it, and then like but Zuck is like blurred in the background too, and you could see him like working on his computer a little bit and like checking it out. I don't know, I thought it was just really pretty to set it up that way. And then like it kind of sticks on the written thing for a little bit before like it goes away. And I like the callback of like, you know, it's after like Zuck's thinking about fucking him over, and he's like, man, I think he might have already fucked him over. He's like, man, don't you remember back in those days, like the algorithm written on the window? You know, he's like trying to make like a happy memory, and Zuck's like, oh shit, I already signed your shares to 0.0. You know, you already signed your life away. But yeah, no, it's a devastating story for Eduardo. Seems to just kind of, I don't know, it seems to happen in every big company. Like Apple and Wozniak, you know, kind of doesn't get
someone's getting fucked, credit, you know.
Yeah, just how the world works, it seems, sadly, but
no, I think we might be ready for a rating here. How you feeling about it, enjoyment wise, on a scale of 1 to 10?
We already brought it up a little bit ago. Is that it's not as fun of a watch as Fight Club, and I definitely stand by that. I'm watching Fight Club, and I'm having a much more fun time. There's a whole lot of stuff going on in Fight Club. So that's a 9 for the ceiling for enjoyment for me. And I think I don't think I was there anyways beforehand. But I'm thinking, I mean, somewhere in the 8 range, that's for sure. I don't think I'm in the 7s.
No, not by any means. I think an 8 is probably fair. You know, like we gave 8 to the King of Comedy. You know, I'm probably north of that.
Prestige is an 8. Yeah, I think it's like 8. Let's see, 8.5 is Bottle Rocket, Royal Tenenbaums. These are kind of fun. This might be like an 8.5 or an 8.25.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd throw it my gut took me to like pretty much the exact opposite of the Fight Club rating.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 8.5 enjoyment, 9 critical, you know, like
it does kind of make sense. I mean, because critically, is it? Let's see.
It might even be a 9.25.
What are not? That'd be Casino, Dunkirk. Dunkirk's pretty good. Asteroid City is a 9.25. Moonrise 9.25. Well, Fantastic Mr. Fox a 9.25 as well. I think I could go.
Yeah, I mean it's either a 9 or a 9.25. I can't go above any of those 9.25s. You know. Yeah.
Tenet is a 9. Lady Bird a 9. Is this better made than Tenet?
I think there are different things that are better about it. You know?
On there. Yeah,
I think Lady Bird might actually be the better comparison as far as that. Simply because like it's not a visual effects sci-fi Marvel. You know, whenever you got that kind of involved, there becomes a little bit more that goes into that critical rating.
I think the editing does give it that bump though. Like the editing, like how well it was done and how like the whole everything. Like I think the ending is the only thing I'm kind of hung up on. Is like it doesn't really feel like it does fit the rest of the movie, but I mean, other than that,
no, I mean, like that doesn't necessarily diminish its quality. I don't think. Like, it more than anything, just didn't resonate with me on a personal level. I'm having I obviously have a tough time separating Mark Zuckerberg, written by Aaron Sorkin, performed by Jesse Eisenberg, from Mark Zuckerberg, 𝗙𝗃𝗏𝗏𝗏 in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Lizard boy.
Yeah, like it's a complicated thing to try and separate that. I do stand by the idea that it doesn't really, what it does address there at the end is those flashes of regret. The Jesse Eisenberg's performance bleeding through in moments to show that he does not feel 100% okay with what he's doing, but he can't stop himself from doing it.
Yeah, that could be a really cool second movie if they, like at the beginning, like maybe it opens up like right at the end of this, and like it opens with him still refreshing, and shit.
Right.
And then it's like, and then I don't know if he did this in real life, but it seems that he is not like this anymore. Like he could be in like personal life, but at least on TV, I guess his public persona doesn't seem that like this is
public persona is incredibly robotic. He's
yeah. So like maybe he did have sort of like a moment where he realized like what like all the things he did, like because things were moving very fast. Like that is, I guess it is, what 5 years that they. It was 5 years.
He became a billionaire in 5 fucking years.
So, but it was already huge. Like it took over Harvard and Stanford and whatever within probably like the first.
Probably 2
years,
it was like, would be my guess.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they do the code for it and stuff when they're sophomores.
Yeah, and it's just all he's doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, things are moving kind of fast. He is still young. He's in college, it's like but that's the thing is that like if you have this idea and you're there, like you're kind of trusted with not trusted, but like you all of this responsibility is thrusted on you, like it's
right.
It's not just you can make something this impactful and walk away. But
and a second movie would be much less factually based. Like it would obviously be big events that happened in the public eye. They would have to be. You can't make a movie about Mark Zuckerberg without that being the case. But what happens behind the scenes, there's no way that at that, like in the middle of the 2010s, there's not a single motherfucker in his life that's not signing an NDA. If you are talking to Mark Zuckerberg, you have a non-disclosure agreement. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to just go, well, what would the version of Zuckerberg that we created in the first movie do with this now? And I think at that point you have a much more freeing opportunity to write a very, very compelling story that is based in fact but is highly fictionalized. And I think that's kind of the magic formula. I love those sorts of stories. But I'm thinking about enjoyment again. What do we have at an 8.25 versus 8.5?
8.25. Oh, nothing so far.
Nothing 8.25?
Nothing. 8.5s? 8s? No 8.25 for enjoyment, you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah, no 8.25s for enjoyment at all.
It might slot in there.
It would be
especially if we're going to go 9.25 critically, which I feel very comfortable about. I think the balance there feels a little bit more fitting because 8.5, I mean, that desire to rewatch some of our other 8.5s is absolutely there. Like I will rewatch this, I'm sure at some point, but it's not like, oh, I gotta rewatch this. I have to see this again. I would probably be okay never watching this again. I don't think that's the case, but I do think I'd be okay with it. So
I guess if it is our first 8.25, this would slot it below Shutter Island. Everything that I'm going to say below is an 8.5. I'm going to say like what it's just sandwiched in between.
Gotcha.
So Shutter Island is above it.
That's Poison, enough for me right there.
Yeah, Poison, The Swan, those were 8.5s. I feel like there's one more up here. Yeah, Royal Tenenbaums and Bottle Rocket are also 8.5s.
I have a desire to revisit all of those over the Social Network. And Shutter Island, you said that, and I was like, I definitely like watching Shutter Island more than I like watching this.
Yeah. Then 8.
But again, I do think it's better than all those. So like,
yeah, I think 8.25. I like that. And then if we are sticking with 9.25 for critical,
I do feel good about that.
Rounds it out to an 89%.
8.92.
Which is above Fight Club. Fight Club was an 8.67. So I mean, I do think I like that. As far as Fincher's movies go, this is one that it's kind of like he would put on his resume to be like, yeah, I did this.
Right.
But if you actually just want to watch like a really cool fucking movie and have a great time, go watch like Fight Club or
right.
I don't know, like like this is his. Hey, here's what I can do. like here's what I can do with a camera and telling people to perform a certain way. But the story itself, it's exciting because of how much it changed history. But surface level, the story's kind of fucking boring, Like it's just a guy.
It is the quality of how it's done that makes it compelling. It is the performances. It is the editing. I think I stand by that 100%. And 892 gives it the exact same final score as Greta Gerwig's Barbie. But the weighting there is massively different. The enjoyment is like 1.5 points higher, and the quality is about 3/4 of a point lower. So,
wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I was wondering if it tied with anything, and that's amazing. The Social Network ties with Barbie. Wow, the most incel is Zuck the biggest incel we've seen in our movies that we've covered?
It might be. He might be. You could make. I
feel like there was one other pretty big simp.
Ernest Burkhart is a pretty massive fucking incel. From Killers of the Flower Moon, Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Rupert Pupkin. Yeah. Rupert Pupkin is probably the largest incel of all time.
There we go. That's pretty good. But Zuck's up there.
Zuck's up there, man.
And he's real. It's a
real person.
So that's hilarious. Dude got dumped in a bar and decided, all right, now I have to get my life. I have to show every woman that I am better.
I'm worthy of their affections.
It's like, wow. Yeah, what a weird face mask. Like, I thought it was like Tinder at first, where it was kind of like, oh yeah, you're hotter. Yeah. Like, but it was like directly comparing two women, so that you got
it was like a contest.
Yeah, it was like, what a god. That's just that's just fucked.
Really, really fucked. Yeah, that's shitty. But
there we are. Next is The Killer, which is kind of crazy.
Already there, and it is weird to do these shorter spotlights. I always feel like we're not giving them their due and proper, but Killers of the Flower Moon only released 3 weeks ago. Like we didn't have we didn't have time. And
that's Scorsese.
And there'll always be the next one. There'll always be the next one. David Fincher will make another movie, and we will do probably another Fincher spotlight when that rolls around.
I think in my own personal time, though, I'll definitely watch Gone Girl. I've never seen that.
Oh, it's good. That's still easy one for me.
Give that a watch. Yeah, definitely need to get there. But I'm excited. We got 9 days left. Is it on the 10th that it comes out? Is that right? Well, I guess
yes, it is. It is. As of recording, it's only a couple days, or as of the release, it's only a couple days away. Recording wise, yes, about a week and a half.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I got some time to watch.
Yeah, I'm thinking of revisiting Zodiac. I want to.
That's been one I haven't seen in a while.
I want to revisit Seven real bad. I do owe that a revisit, man. I feel like I'd appreciate that a lot more than I did on our 52-year journey.
Halloweeny vibe movie as well, Yes, now that I think about it, that is pretty good. Yeah, Fincher, really weird. Just seems to include one person that is kind of just really fucked up in real life. We have a cannibal in this one, and the villain, what's his name? Spacey? Kevin Spacey? What is it? I know he's
Kevin
fucked up. I forgot what he did.
Sexual predator.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, Hollywood, pretty common thing that's found there. But
yeah.
Give some. I don't know. I'll give Fincher his
maybe do a little bit more vetting of the
That's I don't know.
A couple more background checks. How about it?
Yeah. But I mean, that's a whole nother debate.
What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? But yeah, with that, at an 89% for the Social Network, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast. If you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, including all sorts of book reviews, movie reviews, comic book reviews, and the like. For $3 a month, you can support this podcast financially, which is huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow at PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram at PennyBloomPodcast. Remember to leave a 5-star rate and review, and I'm praying, hoping, and wishing that by this time, when this episode releases, we will have reached the year-long goal here in the middle of November, which is very, very cool, and I appreciate that greatly. Or early November, really. We're on a roll. You know, it's been incredible this year, and I'm hoping that the numbers just keep keeping up. Because we're gonna keep doing it. You know, regardless of who's listening, how many people are listening, we're gonna do it. But it's nice to know people are listening.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Remember to stand in solidarity. Solidarity with SAG-AFTRA as they continue their struggle against the studios. You know who's probably not a very big fan of unions? You know who's probably union busting? Zuck. And you know what? Fuck that guy. So how about we stand by our unions? They deserve everything they're asking for. You know who does stand by the union? I'm assuming, I haven't really seen him. Jesse Eisenberg. You know, he's in SAG-AFTRA. You know, he's benefiting from the strike. He will, hopefully. And I hope they end up getting everything they're asking for and more. The studios cannot afford to not have them making movies. It's just the bottom line. So I think that as long as they maintain their solidarity, they'll pull through in the end, and I'm optimistic about it. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. Remember, peace, love, and bloom. And I was your only friend. I was your one friend.